International organizations, WTO, World Trade Organization. We have discussed about the Bretton Woods Organization and BRICS. After Bretton Woods Conference, International Monetary Fund (IMF) was established to give short-term loan and assistance in balance of payment crisis. IBRD, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, was established, which provide long-term loans to reconstruct the world which was devastated by World War II. It provide loans for infrastructure development and social development and so on. Now about World Trade Organization, which is the international organization regulate world trade and the successor of GATT, which was established after Bretton Woods Conference. World Trade Organization. Contents: World Trade Organization names and function, GATT, World Trade Organization history, tariff and trade, why Uruguay Round background and achievements, intellectual property right and Uruguay Round agreements. World Trade Organization. World Trade Organization is an international agency to promote international trade. It is the only agency that promotes and manages free trade between nations. We have came to know about this organization for decades in news reports as World Trade Organization Ministerial Conference, Food Security Deadlock and Peace Clause, so on. So, what is World Trade Organization? What is its function and how does it work? So what is World Trade Organization? It is said that it is an international agency to promote international trade. So its aim to promote international trade. So World Trade Organization is an international agency that promotes and manages free trade between nations. And it is the only global international organization dealing with the rule of trade between nations. This is the era of globalization. Imports and exports are going between nations. So there is a need for rules and regulation as in a single market. We are importing products such as clothes and medicine from other countries and exports our products to foreign countries. Who regulate these trades? It's World Trade Organization. World Trade Organization, the only global international organization dealing with the rule of trade between nations. WTO officially came into existence on 1st January 1995 under the Marrakesh Agreement, which is signed by 123 nations on 15 April 1994, which replaced the GATT, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, which commenced in 1948 after Bretton Woods Conference. After Bretton Woods Conference, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade was formed to regulate international trade. In 1995, WTO replaced GATT. World Trade Organization, an international agency to promote international trade which help countries and producers to conduct their business smoothly and fairly. Goal: help producers of goods and service, exporters and importers to conduct their business. World Trade Organization, established 1st January 1995. Membership 164 countries on July 2016. Headquarters Center William Rappard, Geneva, Switzerland. Official languages English, French, Spanish. Created by Uruguay Round negotiation from 1986 to 94. Director General Roberto Azevedo. World Trade Organization history. We have discussed in the previous videos about the Bretton Woods Conference that was held after World War II to discuss what would be the economic order in post-World War era. And the results were: Articles of Agreement to create International Monetary Fund, Articles of Agreement to create International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, along with another organization, ITO, International Trade Organization, was negotiated, but it was not approved by United States. ITO negotiation failed. After LS Formal Trade Agreement (GATT), General Agreement on Tariff and Trade was established in 1948 after World War II. But middle of the 80s, global trade became more complex. GATT was not able to meet the demands in global trade, so there was a need for another organization. Uruguay round negotiation was held from 1986 to 94. In 1995, WTO replaced GATT. Uruguay rounds was held from 1986 to 1994. GATT was formed in 1948. It continued its role in reducing tariff and trade and other trade barriers until 80s. What is trade barrier? Trade barriers are the government policies which place restriction on international trade, which can make trade more difficult or prevent trade completely. Importation of foreign products can lead to the less demand of indigenous products, which can create adverse effect in indigenous economy. Governments implementing trade barrier in order to safeguard their production and economy. Trade barriers are introduced to make imported goods or services less competitive than locally produced goods and services. It can prevent the challenges that is created by imported products to local products. If imported products are available in cheap rate, which can decrease the demand of local products, which eventually create losses to the local producers, and they may forced upon to end their business. Trade barrier make imported products more expensive and importation difficult, so which make imported products less competitive to local products. This is the reason countries are implementing trade barrier. Let's discuss later about different types of trade barrier. And GATT continued its role in reducing tariff and trade and other trade barriers until 80s. But in 1980s, world trade became more complex and more global because it is leading to globalization. So GATT failed to address many of the new global trading challenges. In 1988, Ministerial Declaration identified the problems that GATT could not manage. And in 1986, the 8th round GATT that was held in Uruguay, which is called as Uruguay rounds. It was the biggest negotiation that had been held forever on trade system. There were discussions to extend the trading system into new areas such as intellectual property and reform in sensitive areas such as agriculture and textiles. There was disagreement between US and European Union, and finally they settled the difference in a deal which is informally known as Blair House Accord. On 1994 April 15, ministers of 123 governments met in Marrakesh, Morocco. The Marrakesh Agreement established World Trade Organization. Entry into force on 1st January 1995 and replaced the GATT. World Trade Organization came into force on 1st January 1995, which replaced the GATT, which was formed in 1948. And it was created by Marrakesh Agreement. Uruguay round aims to lift restriction on foreign investment, reduce agricultural subsidies, to begin the process of opening trade in services like banking and insurance, and draft a code to deal with copyright violation and other forms of intellectual property rights. To lift restriction on foreign investment that could promote globalization, reduce agricultural subsidies. Subsidy is a financial support intended to promote economic and social policy. It will lessen the production cost and finally reduce the price of goods. So the indigenous products are available in cheaper rate than foreign products, which can decrease trade or importation. Subsidies are discouraged by international trade agreements such as WTO. Expand trade in service sectors like banking and insurance. Goods and services. Goods were already there and extend this trade in service like banking and insurance. And negotiation about intellectual property rights. What is intellectual property? Intellectual property means creation of the intellect. It refers to creation of the mind such as invention, literacy and artistic works, designs and symbols, names and images used in commerce. Intellectual property means the product of human creativity. It can be artistic work such as music or literacy work, designs and symbols, names and images. And intellectual property rights are protection granted to the creators of intellectual property. This include trademark, copyright, patents, industrial design rights and trade secrets. So the ownership of their ideas are given to the creators. No other one can use, sell or reproduce without creators' permission. Uruguay Round Achievements. Uruguay Round established World Trade Organization, so an umbrella agreement, the agreement establishing WTO. Goods and investment. The multilateral agreement on trade in goods, including the GATT 1994, and the trade relative investment measures TRIMS. These are the rules that apply to the domestic regulation a country applies to foreign investors. To lift restriction on foreign investment. Service. General Agreement on Trade in Service GATS. Extend multilateral trade into service sector. Extend trade in service like banking and insurance. Intellectual property. Agreement on trade related aspects of intellectual property rights. Intellectual property law for the first time into international trading system. Dispute settlements. Uruguay Round Agreement on Agriculture, which has 3 pillars: domestic support, market access and export subsidies. This we will discuss in detail in next video. Agreement on the application of sanitary and phytosanitary measures or SPS. This is aimed to the protection of human, animal or plant life or health from certain risks. WTO put restriction on member states such as policies relating to food safety, animal plant health with respect to imported pests and disease. Thanks for watching. We will discuss other features of WTO in next video.